Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of the Big East League of Legends season. Today, we are bringing you Butler University going up against St. John's University. I am Toxic Gerbil, and I am joined here today by my co-caster, Shinkari, and I am excited to get into these games. We have, I believe, our returning champion in the side of St. John's here today, so it should be very promising.
Oh yeah, I am super excited for these games today. Both teams seem pretty good, but I am really excited to see St. John play once again. Their team has proven time and time again that they are a team to be reckoned with. We've seen lots of very good games from the two of them, and this is a new season. This is a new patch.
Mhm.
There's a lot of exciting things to happen today. So really pumped for all the new things that are going to be happening today.
Yeah, I am excited too, and I think we are going to go straight in. Or no, we actually have a message from the schools to play first before we go into draft. So
Yeah.
we'll be back in just a few minutes and get right into the action. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed those messages. We are getting underway with draft. And looking at these two teams, we have a stacked lineup on this St. John's University side. Twice Sana, a master tier jungler, Basham Diamond 2, Hayam CZ D4, Reborn D1, and Seven Swords up in the top lane is going to be a or Caught Dead rather, sorry, is a gold
Mhm.
1 player, but
Yeah.
the rest of his lineup looks so intimidating.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like a lot of these individual players on St. John are incredibly well seasoned players amongst all of them. But I really have to shout out to Butler here because they not only just in name, but they flex fives almost all the time together. And
Mhm.
right off the bat, we are seeing some spicy bans already. Karthus, Vladimir, all of these are hitting the mid lane as quick as possible, and Ornn being banned away in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, Hi, I'm CZ was an absolute pop-off player for the team last season. So you'd have to imagine that his picks need to go and be eliminated. I
Mhm.
might be a little worried though about Twice Sana already back at Master Tier, popping off in the jungle. The Talia ban we see probably aimed a little bit at that, but with so many power picks like Olaf and Lilia open and Graves,
Mhm.
yeah, Olaf exactly
Yeah,
being taken away, but
yeah. Right
Twice
off the
Sana has a lot of options.
Yeah, for real. This is actually a very strong first pick for MGL. This is actually his highest win rate champion and his most played of the season so far. And Olaf, even though he received a little bit of an adjustment in the previous patch, he's still very strong. And Gore Drinker is still just a very strong mythic item to go along with him. And Alistar and Kaisa being picked up for the bot lane immediately. This is another very strong pairing in the bot lane, and just watching these power picks go one by one as I'm really excited to see this game already.
Kaisa has emerged recently as a very popular blind first pick, but the meta has shifted slightly to go against her. Picks like this Galio especially have risen up to really challenge her, and her short range vulnerability. Her
Mhm.
auto attack range is as long as Galio's max charge taunt range, so you have to be
Mhm.
incredibly careful diving in, or you're going to get turned on and blown up.
Yeah, and it's also important to note that this Galio is also very good against the Alistar as well, being able to counter a lot of this short range, a bit with the taunt as we mentioned, but a lot of his when you're close together like that, being able to get that additional damage from usually aftershock as well as his passive auto attack boost is very strong. Jin was also being picked up by Levi. This is another these Butler is just getting one comfort pick after another. Like these are champions that they've had lots of success with in their flex 5 queues. So this is already looking to be like a really great game. Not to mention that like Jin is already a really great hero in his own right.
Yeah, Jin is incredibly strong. He has been a staple pick Into the Kaisa, he has sort of had a middling win rate. It's about that 50-50 skill matchup mark, but with that Galio being such a powerful flex pick between mid and support, I really do like this Butler draft so far. The
Mm-hmm.
Graves is picked up for twice Sana on the side of St. John's, and it leans more into that short range, go in
Mm-hmm.
and dive playstyle. But Butler has been doing a good job drafting against that with this Galio and this Olaf, who
Yep.
don't really care that much about getting engaged on that. I might want to see St. John's pivot away from that playstyle in their
Yep.
last two picks to give themselves some insurance.
Yeah. And we see some of y'all will be looking at the bans and being like, what is going on with these mid bans? These are not things that we normally see. Fizz and Vladimir are both high MCZ's highest pick, highest win rate champions in both this season and the previous season. So they are trying to ban high MCZ off his comfort champions, but you can't really, if you are an accomplished mid laner, Oriana is always the pillow you can fall on and just be still very good at. So this is a very good pickup, I think, especially with the Alistar, especially with Kaisa, especially with Graves. When you have such short range champions, it's easy to be able to support those kinds of folks, especially with movement speed and the available shockwave.
Yeah, Oriana, exactly what I was talking about. Pivoting away from the dive. Oriana can still put the ball on that Alistar, make your dive stronger, but it's a control mage that can better control the tempo of the game and has more slow play tools. On the other side, Syndra is picked up as the counter pick, and for a long, long history of this game, Syndra has been considered a very solid Oriana counter pick. You have very similar laning poke patterns and a lot more burst and all-in potential on the side of the Syndra. But there was a
Mhm.
patch about 5 months ago now that increased Syndra's Q mana cost by 20-ish mana per Q. And it was an
Mhm.
incredibly heavy hit to the matchup. And ever since then, I think a lot of people have considered the matchup a lot closer or even Oriana favored, as she
Mhm.
can get a lot more poke in for the same amount of mana spent.
Yeah. And now we see the final picks coming out, Aatrox and Gnar. Once again, two very strong picks, and we've seen a lot in the LCS recently. Aatrox is very good for these very, very clustered, very 5v5 heavy fights, being able to get off a lot of multi-target damage, and Gnar being able to be a solid initiator, and once again, kind of a similar thing. Being in these close kind of 5v5 matches, getting in a bunch of things. So
Yeah, and Aatrox obviously going to be building that Gore Drinker. He
mhm.
gets so much value out of being melee range with all of these short range targets. Even the range champions, the Gnar, the Graves, and the Kaisa, aren't going to be out of range of that Gore Drinker. So I'm expecting to see some absolutely incredible results from this Aatrox, especially against the Gnar, who I might even consider countered by Aatrox. He historically does very well into these ranged poke styled matchups due to
Mhm.
his innate healing combined with the range he gets from his Q and his E, allowing him to contest their damage.
Mhm. Yep. Um Yeah, and I think that's about all I have to. Did you have anything else you wanted to note about any of these teams? Like this looks like a pretty standard fare to me. Nothing like
Mhm.
super shoots out as me. A lot of these are strong picks are very very strong. I think some like early brawling between Olaf and Graves, Aatrox and Gnar looks like a really great matchup in the top lane. The mid lane, as we've mentioned, has been sort of easily gets more middling depending on who has the champions. But I honestly I like both of these drafts really really well. What do you think?
I like both the drafts. I think that the draft from the side of Butler is a lot more balanced. I feel like St. John's was forced to pivot their draft halfway through, and there are some inconsistencies, but the Oriana and the Gnar have enough of that dive follow up that it does still tie things together very well. And going into this game, I expect a lot of the pressure to be around this mid lane. We
Hmm.
have two immobile, gankable mid laners who can both really snowball a matchup. And we have roaming supports as well on both sides of the bot lane matchup. So there's going to be a lot of plays centralized around this bottom scuttle crab and the bottom and mid lanes. I think the top lanes are going to be left to farm for the most part, especially considering that Caught Dead is probably going to be more on the tank duty in this team just due to the elo differences. I think the resources are going to go toward those bigger pop-off carry players.
Yeah, I also agree that this is going to go towards the mid lane. I think Butler has shown so much priority towards getting high MCZ off comfort picks and kind of forcing him onto something like maybe that he's pulling out of his back pocket. And like maybe they're like, okay, we recognize high MCZ is a very powerful player. If we can focus him during the draft and then focus him during the game, we should be able to get them on the back foot and use that as a pathway to victory. That's at least my interpretation of looking at these drafts.
Yeah, I agree. There were so many bans thrown at high MCZ in the mid lane, and for him to still end up on Oriana, which is such a solid, consistent mid lane champion, never ever falling out of meta, it feels a little bit like those bans are wasted, but they're really not, because you have to keep him off of the Vladimir. You have to keep him off of the Fizz, or he's going to run away with the game.
Yeah. And I think with that, we're just going to wait for spectator delay to go forth, and we're just going to go with a quick break, and we'll be right back.
I mean, we've already waited out the spectator delay, right? We're loading, but
all right,
we're just gonna look at this loading screen for a little bit. Yeah,
go into it.
We talked about the draft for so long.
Yeah,
we waited out the entire timer. So yeah, here we are getting straight into the game, and I am excited to get into it. Last week we had a very interesting game on stream. It was pretty close for a while until it kind of blew open at the end, and I'm hoping for another exciting game today. With these drafts, I predict it will be. These aren't enchanters in the bot lane or tanks in the top lane, right?
Yeah.
These are very volatile comps, and I think there's going to be some incredible team fights.
Yeah, for real. I'm super excited to see both of these teams go at it. So let's just get into this room. Give me that load screen. Come on. Put me in the rift.
Yeah, we got it. We're just waiting out this initial little bit of delay.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna pause it at 1 second, and once everyone's synced up, we will get going, get into the action. We have Mac in the top lane, MGL in the jungle, Levi in the mid lane, Bloodstorm in the bot lane, and Mojo Romo in the support role. And if you just meet me at 5 seconds, I think we can press play all together and be synchronized, alright? We have everyone ready?
Oh, hold on for me. Oh. We go there and pause, please. Syncing up this stuff usually is very, very annoying.
It's always a pain, but it's the price of production. We're gonna get into the game in just a second, so if we're all good to go, I am ready to hit play here. Yeah, 5 seconds. We're getting all synced up.
Okay. All right. 5. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1, play, and we are in the game here.
Yeah.
I said the Butler lineup, but on the other side for St. John's, we have Caught Dead in the top lane, Twice Sana in the jungle, High MCZ in the mid lane, Bosch Mom in the bot lane, and Reborn as his support. And already we are heading out of the base, and it looks like it's just going to be some 5-point battle lines as the teams posture around the jungle.
Yeah, we just get this initial line of scrimmage.
Ooh,
usually these
are...
Twice Sana might be caught out here. Good thing it's forced to level his dash as well, which is not exactly what you want at level 1, but it's better than spending your flash. So
yeah, it's about the same as leveling the Q, considering it does give you that auto reset, and it'll save you a little bit of health with that armor it gives you as well. So Graves really can level either at the start, so nothing really lost for Twice Sana. We do see, though, Butler gets down that deep ward onto the red buff, as well as forcing a wasted ward on the side of St. John's by the chickens. On the other side of the map, though, we saw Boschman get his own ward on the chickens of Butler, so vision being traded back and forth, and it's going to be St. John's and Butler both knowing exactly where the enemy jungler is starting.
Yeah, it is important to note that Graves did move from his red buff and his chickens over to blue buff here, so this might be a little bit of a change in the jungle pathing. in order to move around the board. So that's a little bit interesting to see. But for the most part, pretty standard starts across the board. And we're ready to get this game underway. Let's go.
Yeah, and we are getting straight into it already. A little bit of poke being slapped down in the top lane. Both junglers probably just going to opt to power clear on their first rotation. Graves and Olaf are known for that. Olaf a little bit more able to get an early gank, but there's a trade in the bot lane. This could be big.
Yeah, there's already a huge amount of damage going on both sides. Here comes the fourth shot out from Jin. It's a lot of damage, but nothing to either team just yet. But blue side Butler is pretty low right now. So that is something to note if there is any sort of engage later.
Yeah, but we see Jin started the boots 4-pot strategy, so anytime there's a trade going down in the lane, it is going to be going in Ludstorm's favor, as he's going to be able to regen up so hard and caught dead, already getting that Mega Gnar, getting a good trade for himself as well, as the early game is starting out pretty well for Butler here. All of their lanes getting advantages and being able to press them.
Yeah, and this is another truth that Butler has been playing, even though from their ranked solo ranks, it's still like they play this game pretty well and play very well coordinated. So even from our load and stream, you know, not everything is set and done just yet. So this is, again,
yeah, good little gank evasion in the top lane, as this is what I was talking about. Look at Levy's mana bar compared to high IMCZ. It is such a rough matchup now that Syndra has those nerfed mana costs. And there's an all-in in the bot lane.
Yeah, there's a flash and a knock up into the air. Jin's going to be taken very low, but he immediately flashes over to the safety. The Justice Punch is going to take him very low. And now the focus is onto Kaisa. Galio forced to flash away, and the rest of the team is going to take those two, is going to take the heal and the flash and the exhaust from Galio and Jin. And it's going to, the trade goes over to St. John.
It's going to be 3 sums traded for 3 sums, but the health bar advantage went the way of St. John's. Biscuits and another potion being forced out of Bloodstorm. He played for that attrition playstyle. He bought those 4 potions and the boots, and he is getting his value out of them, but that means he's not really winning his lane so far. And we'll have to see how that bot lane keeps playing out, as already Reborn looks for a roam timing, but won't quite find anything.
Yeah, he does get the ward onto chickens, which is actually pretty good. He wasn't spotted out by any St. John's ward, so now they know exactly where Olaf is. They know his pathing, and that's going to play well into the rest of the game, as we see just a little bit of a trade in the top lane, nothing coming out from that.
Yeah, caught dead, forcing Max Flash, a really smart play, knowing he was going to transform into Mega Gnar and going in deep mech. Having to flash away is a huge cooldown, considering the gank setup that Gnar provides, and Graves kind of needing some setup in order to find those ganks himself. Mac, in what I'd consider a counter matchup, has to play a lot safer now.
Yeah, I've seen this lane as we've tabbed over to it a couple times. It's kind of gone back and forth. Sometimes we see Mac just heal off and just do so much damage to Caught Dead, but there's a lot of other times where Caught Dead has just exerted so much pressure just from the Mega Gnar form that, you know, we get these situations where Mac just has to run literally for.
Yeah, I mean, look at how much health he has thanks to that Doron shield and the fleet footwork. But all that being said, he is still at a very heavy farm deficit. Over 10 CS behind his lane opponent, but this is big.
Ooh, yeah, this is very sticky here. Gnar has so much damage. That's going to be the 3rd tick. That's going to be first blood going over to Gnar in the top lane. Man.
And the CS difference doesn't matter that much when you're getting the solo kill in lane. Top diff being typed in the chat as Caught Dead finds the first blood of the game on this star-studded roster. It is Caught Dead who finds value and gets the lead going.
Yeah, and that's kind of important to note that since like Gnar can just build into okay. I guess
Classic Olaf.
Yeah, just classic. That's just fine.
Oh, great stun. Oh my god.
Yeah, we do have a bunch of stuff happening at the map at once. So we do have Blue team picking up Cloud Drake, and we do have that little bit of a skirmish happening in the mid lane. Very, very well placed stun there. Ooh. Yeah, there's the freedom punch coming down from Galio. Is going to be able to get the knockup, and now Graves is dinking in the mid lane. Is going to get a huge amount of damage on the Cinder. Is not going to be enough. She throws out the ultimate, trying to get the return damage, but now here comes the teleport and the gank from Olaf. Aatrox trying to get over the wall. The TP from Nars coming in as well. The counter gank is there. Now we're down the bot lane. There's some freedom punch into the knockup, into the stun. There's a huge amount of damage coming up, but Jhin can't do a lot to follow up. It's just disengage at this point, and the rest of the red team on St. John's is backing off for now.
Yeah, and all the dust finally settles, all the trades, and all three lanes come down, and it is a 2-0 advantage for St. John's. Teleport on both sides being extended in the mid lane. Nobody else ends up going down, and it was just that last final hit of the Graves' end of the line that took out Levi. He wasn't able to dodge it out, and now falling behind 10 CS in the mid lane. The difference is made up for in the top lane, but this kill gold gives a 1,000 gold lead at 7 minutes over to St. John's, and that's not the end of the world, especially when you've already taken a dragon for yourself, but it could show a worrying trend if it continues.
Yeah, and honestly, like, at this stage of the game, I think you already said it, like, the 1,000 gold lead isn't too much, and it's not anything to, like, really write home about, especially when you already have a rank picked up. And I think a lot of these lanes are farming, like, pretty well. Like, no one's, like, super far behind. And, like, both these teams, like, no one's particularly bad at farming, so, like, I don't think the CS difference is going to really come into play a lot of times. Like, if you take a look at the board, like, if anything is, like, a huge CS difference, it's mostly in the jungle and the top lane, and that's favored to Butler.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This Olaf obviously going to outfarm the Graves unless something really crazy happens. That's just how Olaf works in the early game, and the Aatrox into the Gnar as well. It's just the nature of these matchups, but yeah, the CS isn't what's making or breaking the game, but it is what is keeping Butler more in it than they could be. 2 kills down, that's a lot of pressure you're losing and a lot of gold you're giving over, so having those farm leads certainly does help. And we see Bashma in the bot lane rushing boots on Kaisa, which is a little bit interesting. It means he wants that early power to run down the Jhin in these trades. We often see the Noon Quiver, Dirk, and Pickaxe rush as quickly as possible. In fact, a lot of Kaisa players even take 3 boots because they know they won't be buying it early. So a cool development, but there's a big fight in the top lane, and it's both ults going down, but nothing else.
Yeah, both ults have been popped here, but it seems like both folks are just scaring each other just a little bit. Hey, can I get this kill? No, I can't. Okay, I'm just gonna walk away. Nothing happened. Let's just pretend nothing happened. Let's be neighborly. Let's be neighborly. Come on.
Yeah.
You have a cup of sugar? It seems like your lane was pushing towards me, so it looks like that might be the cup of sugar that I was looking for.
We're far gone from the wet noodle fights of 2015 and 2016 in the top lane, but that kind of reminds me of it a little bit. Both players kind of going in, dealing like 400 damage to each other. They both regen it back up. They have fleet footwork. They have Aatrox's Qs. Some more poking trade back and forth. This could be big, but Mac not committing to anything too crazy.
Ooh, this is the big thing, though. Oh my gosh, Reborn is all the way in the top lane. Toysana's here, too. Whoa!
That's a sup diff if I've ever seen one. It is traded for the bot side of the map. Herald being summoned in the mid lane is going to trade gold back, but IMCZ getting a fat trade for himself.
That's an ultimate being procced by Oriana here, just to get Cinder away from the Herald.
But the Herald can't charge, it's completely wasted. And we see Bashman being zoned off this tower bot lane, giving 1 or 2 plates to the side of Butler, but that's how many plates they were able to take off that top tower for themselves anyway, so the gold on the plates being traded back and forth even, but Herald is wasted. Oh my god, Bashman.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the rundown we were talking about with the Kaisa. The Justice Punch comes in. The Great Heroic and Prince as well is still not enough to catch them down. Here comes the 4 bullets. 1, 2, 3. The fourth shot comes in, but Alistar is able to block it. The rest of the red team is now here. The teleport coming in from Syndra. They're trying to turn this stuff around. Alistar is incredibly low. There's the taunt. There's the kill on the Alistar. The rest of the team is now running in. Orianna's the next focus. The Justice Punch is not able to land. Aatrox is looking for the last bit. They're forced to dodge the Jhin, but they can't dodge the Aatrox. 2-for-1 on the bot side. Or 2-for-0.
And that's such a huge play for Butler. Getting a 2-for-1 from this losing position off of great rotations from their team. Mojo Romo having an insane Galio taunt. There's no jungler here on the side of Butler. They have to be so careful. Boschman almost getting that tower for himself, and we see the only trade return is that one plate and some CS in the top lane. Caught dead, evening up on farm, but a huge play for the side of Butler. The gold difference still around 1,000 down, but a little better than where they were before, and it's another dragon as they work toward that soul point.
Kings coming out from the top side here. The gank happens, but this bot lane push is really what we need to take a look at here. Kai'Sa, even with these tier 2 boots, now she has that serrated dirt, and now she has the damage to match the attack speed that she picked up from the previous from the Berserker Grief. So that should be interesting to watch as we do have a gank in the bottom lane here. That's a great taunt from Galio. Jhin is going to be knocked into the air, taken incredibly low. That's going to be Kai'Sa picking up that kill, giving it over to Graves. Galio is now the target here. He might be able to get away. What do we got? Oh my god, wait a minute! Yo, did they just put down the wards on top of the plant to keep him from going away? That's insane. As Kai'Sa uses her ultimate to get to the shockwave, Syndra, and she's going to be the one down. Aatrox now coming over the wall. He's got his ultimate, taking Graves incredibly low. The rest of the damage is there. He's going to be able to find the kill. He's now healing so much. He's not going to be able to find the second kill, though. That's going to be a 2-for-0 on the bot lane. Olaf picking up the top kill.
And this whole time, Caught Dead is absolutely wailing on this top tower. Mac has been rotating to all these fights, but it's come at a cost. He's now down farm, down plating, and all of his plays have only been 1-for-1s for himself. We see now in almost 3,000 gold lead for the side of St. John's. Things are really opening up. 2 kills on this Alistar is not where you want it, but when the enemies are falling, you can't be too mad about it either way. And with, I would say, the superior scaling with this Graves, Ori, and Kai'Sa, St. John's looks incredibly poised to take this game. It's about a matter of time until this third dragon spawns, and I think that's going to be the deciding point of the game. If Butler doesn't get it, they're not going to be threatening that soul point. They're not going to have much pressure going forward, so they're going to have to commit to this fight from behind in just a few minutes.
Yeah. And you know what they say, if you can't kill the minions, just kill the champions instead. You know, we saw a huge leap in, oh wow, we do see a Gnar ultimate in the top lane. That's a huge amount of CC and a decent chunk of damage. Already Aatrox is going to heal from a huge chunk of it. Gnar is going to be now the focus now as Olaf turns out into the top lane. That's going to be a kill going over to Olaf, and top lane priority going over to Butler.
That's going to be a kill going over to the Olaf. It's going to be the Herald going over to Butler, and that Herald is exactly the tool that Butler needs to help themselves set up this dragon take in 2 minutes. You drop it mid lane, you force somebody to respond, and while you have a 4v5 in the pit, you set up control, and then maybe you can look for the play.
You do see a decent chunk of damage being put for the top lane turret here, and Rift Herald is being picked up right now.
Yeah, the Herald's going down. It's Kai'Sa, Boschman on that bot lane tower, taking it, opening up the map just a little bit longer, and we see Reborn absolutely camping this bush, trying to find somebody caught out as they look for this dragon.
Yeah, here comes the Rift Herald on the top side. That's going to get a decent
I don't know if I love that Rift Herald. This top tower is doing nothing for the side of St. John's right now, and with this very critical dragon spawning in just a minute now, I would have really liked to see it save to pressure this mid lane when dragon is coming up. So Butler needs to get off their resets, which they've done. Mac walking toward bot, Levi going toward top lane. They might be thinking about forfeiting this dragon. They need to start working toward the pit. I don't know if they realize how important this third dragon is for this comp. They need to be threatening Soul.
I mean, I think my thought here is that they're just freeing up Mac, since he has been teleporting and he already has his mythic item finished, and he already has like a lot of pretty much damage and pressure already. By freeing him up and putting Syndra into the top lane, by putting her into like maybe a bit of an easier matchup.
Yeah, she's got TP.
She's about to have TP up as well for this dragon. So if they can give like a ward for Levi to teleport onto, then this is going to be just a pretty easy.
Yeah, we see Contact teleporting early. Levi still in the top lane. That teleport's still on cooldown for another couple seconds, and the dragon is already going down. Butler is zoned off of it. They can't find an angle.
Yeah, that early teleport was to make sure that they had, and that they were able to use the Mega Gnar for however many seconds they had left. But once again, this was a very easy pick by the by St. John as they take down.
Gold Drinker's crazy.
Yeah, Gold Drinker is insane, and being able to take him up just a little bit longer, but not able to find a kill. The amount of healing that he does is just.
Yeah, Basham finding more value, not getting the kill, but dealing the lion's share of the damage for himself. And with that dragon gone, St. John's is looking really, really good. They've alleviated this dragon stacking pressure that Olaf is almost guaranteed to get in the early game. They have 3 kills on their Graves, 2 kills on their Gnar. Their gold is where they need it to be. Kaisa is on her Kraken Slayer and her Dirk. Her Q is evolved. It's looking really, really good for St. John's here. Up 4,000 gold. It's on the correct targets, the mythics are done across the board, and it's a matter of time until Baron starts coming online. A minute and a half before that, we already see Reborn going to set up the vision, and Butler needs to find a Hail Mary play. They need to get a pick on somebody in the side lane, but Reborn.
Oh yeah, there's a Hex Flash going right in. He's going to find the knockup on the Jhin, but he's not going to be able to find any follow-up. The stun is the snare is land on him, but it looks like the bot lane is just going to back off as the lanes continue to swap in this game.
Yeah, great disengage from Mojo Romo on this Galio. Such a powerful tool with that taunt. No follow-up being found as Basham not actually... Oh, in a lot of things, actually.
Huge. That root was very, very strong, and now the Breast team is forced to move into the 4 shots. The third, the fourth goes out. Alistar is taken now incredibly low. The shockwave comes out and stuns 2 members underneath the turret. The rest of the team comes in. Now Syndra is going to be able to find immediate kill on the Graves. Orianna is snared underneath the turret, but it doesn't look like Butler is going to follow up. Ooh, Mac is going in, not being able to find the knockup here. It looks like the tower is now the focus, and that's going to be the pickup for this team as a 1 for 2 in favor of, I'd probably say, Butler here.
Oh, absolutely in the favor of Butler. That was the exact play I was talking about that they needed to find. Baron spawning in just 20 seconds after it goes down is going to give Butler time to reset, spend their gold. They get the mid tower, they open the map, they can now go for deeper vision. They put money onto their carries. Olaf getting a kill, Jhin getting kill participation. He's on his mythic and a Dirk now. Gold going over to Mac, exactly what they needed. The gold difference down to only 2,000. Butler closing the gap right as the critical objective is spawning. If they can get one more of those, it'll be an even game, and the scaling from the side of Butler is not that bad, especially when there's only the 1 magic damage threat on the side of St. John. It is a very strong one in an Orianna, but this armor on these tabbies and these death dances that are going to be coming out on the side of Butler is nothing to laugh about. It is going to be incredibly valuable, and there's going to be so much pressure on high MCZ to put out the damage in fights.
Yeah, and usually, like, Orianna is like a wide kind of AP damage. While she does do considerable damage, in comparison to some other champions, like, she doesn't deal as much damage. She's mostly there for her utility. So I don't want to discount Orianna damage 100%, but usually you're picking Orianna.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's a pretty common misconception that like you know like you get Shockwave for the AoE crowd control, like that thing leaves people at 10% HP. It hurts. Oh my god, Hot Dead goes in.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of damage coming out from the Gnar, and the Galio ultimate is going to force him to back away, even if he gets the Mega Gnar. The ultimate from Aatrox is coming in now. He's going to put down the cage. There's the Shockwave. A huge amount of damage comes out. There's the ultimate for Graves. Going to be able to find the kill. Galio is now the target. He's taken to half HP. Olaf coming into the fight from the backside. He has gone unstoppable, but is it going to save him at this time? There's the Alistar combo. Going to knock him into the air. The rest of the damage is there to follow up. He's stunned. He's taken solo. That's going to be the kill. Olaf is going to be able to find a return kill. A 1 for 2.
1 for 3.
1 for 3, rather, in favor of St. John as this dragon is now spawning.
Yeah, an absolutely disastrous fight. It looked so good at the start. Caught dead, falling so low so quickly as he tries to find a play onto Levi, but the entire team comes to back him up. Mac goes in too deep. His team isn't following, so he finds himself in a 1v3, gets blown off, and then Mojo Romo, as soon as Mac dies, finds himself in the same situation, and it's just a chain of kills going to the side of St. John's, and with 2 dragons online and gold going into their pockets, they're going to reset and start looking to set up this Baron, because if they can force another fight, they have 2 items onto their Kaisa, 2 items onto their Gnar, and they can absolutely demolish a team fight if they started on their terms with something like an Alistar Shockwave combo.
Yeah, and I do want to point something out that I personally, as a support player, am a little bit bothered by as we look. Oh, that's a huge amount of damage coming out of the Jhin right now. That's going to be Kaisa diving in. It's going to take a huge amount of damage, but it's not going to be enough. The 4-man dive onto this Galio, who is now the new target. That's going to be Basham picking up the kill. And now Butler is now coming in from the side, and they're going to be able to do a huge amount of damage. Oh my gosh, that's so much. But now Aatrox is going to be the next victim of this fight. Olaf trying to be not the victim here, but now Syndra is now caught out in between this Alistar and this Gnar. He's going to be stunned. He's going to be knocked. He's going to be thrown against the wall. That's going to be another kill going over to Basham as another gruesome fight goes over to the side of St. John.
Basham getting the kill, and it's going to be the Baron take now. The fight in the mid lane goes absolutely disastrously. So many low health bars on the side of St. John's at so many points, but nobody falls, and it's going to be an incredible gold swing. Upwards of 4,000 gold being put in the pockets on that play for St. John. It's going to be an 8k gold lead for them on the map. They have the scaling on their side as well, and the game might be all but done, all but the crying done, right? However that expression goes, oh my god, I cannot speak, as we see the St. John's lineup run down the mid lane. They're going to be cracking towers with this Baron buff, as Claudette just goes out for the 1-4 setup as Basham sets up the wave.
And this is exactly the need, the buff that St. John needs to close out this game. They've been team fighting so very well, and to have these now buffed minions to survive a lot of the abilities that Butler is using to clear out these waves is very important. Butler doing a very good job of defensive warding here, but they're going to have to find some picks here in order to make team fights in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely critical. We see a 1-2-1 setup coming out for the side of St. John's. The Graves in the jungle farming up, but when you have this Baron buff, it's really good to send one person to each lane at least, just to make all of your minions as strong as possible. As IMCZ, susses Mac is there, but walks up anyway, and this could be a huge play for Butler.
Yeah, Mac has already dealt a huge amount of damage. The ultimate is popped, but Orianna just has so much kiting, so much peel. She's able to walk away. That's one lane with a little bit less pressure on it, but the other lanes, look at this mid lane just go down.
Yeah, St. John's, that Baron buff, 3 Fed members in there. Ooh.
Oh no, Mojo Romo getting caught not on the wall there. Now the team fight is being turned around. Reborn is able to get a decent chunk of damage on to Galio. The rest of the team follows up. No kills, but still forcing Butler on the back foot as fast as possible.
Yeah, you can't engage on an Alistar like that when he has ultimate. He is just absolutely too tanky, but caught dead. He's getting caught dead here.
Oh man, taken solo. The turret is going to be able to find him there. 2 red buffs on the side of on Butler here, but losing a kill here and a Baron buff. It looks like they're peeling off towards Dragon.
They're going to peel off toward Dragon. This is the 3rd Dragon of the game. 40 seconds leaves them with not quite enough time to reset, so they're just going to shove out the waves, post around, and look for a pick as they can actually force mid lane, and they're pinging it out. They might just trade the Dragon for the inhibitor with 2 dragons on either side. They really don't care. This game should not go to Soul anyway, so
yeah,
I love this play from St. John's.
Yeah, I think they actually might have baited the Dragon movement and forced Butler into this situation where now they have to walk back to the lane. There's a 2-man top from Galio.
4-man stun.
Damage from Butler. HiMCZ is the first one to go down. Now the rest of the team is trying to back up and turn this fight into their favor, but so much damage is coming down from Olaf here, and now Graves is the target. He's not going to be able to be sunned up here, but the rest of the team is following up. Olaf is now on top of Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa doing as much as he can, but that's another shutdown going towards Butler, and now the pings are coming out. Their inhibitor might be exposed, but this Dragon is up and valuable. Ooh, Graves coming back in. That's a huge amount of damage coming down. That's going to be Syndra coming down, but there's still a jungler for Butler and just a Gnar for St. John's.
Yeah, and the shutdown gold goes to the Syndra. Oh, we might not be done quite yet, though.
Oh, that's going to be the Gnar shoving everyone into the wall. He's going to be able to find at least 1 kill in trade for the Dragon, but that's going to put Butler MGL onto a killing spree on this Olaf.
And now it's Butler on Soul Point. I said I thought this game wouldn't go to Soul, but with that much gold going straight to Butler, we could see that be a possibility. They may have a new lease on life. Baron is spawning in 1:30, and that Dragon, that Soul Dragon, is spawning in 5 minutes, so Butler needs to hold on just a little bit longer, because if they can get this Ocean Soul onto an Aatrox and an Olaf who amplify the healing they get already, it could be devastating.
Yeah, we already thought that this game might have been open and closed pretty much already. We saw a huge gold lead for St. John's. We saw them with Baron buff. We saw them making very good macro plays, and then Gnar dies CC'd underneath the turret, and then slowly it starts to form back into Butler. So it looks like this is a really great game where nothing is shut and closed. Oh,
it starts like that.
Yeah. Small mistakes like this where a pretty well-organized team like Butler, like we said before, Butler individually might not seem like a great team in comparison to St. John, but they are constantly playing together all the time. They do have this very good team synergy that they can use against each other, and they have within these past few minutes.
Absolutely. Levi finding an absolutely insane 4-man stun to set his team up to get back in the game, but now with Baron spawning in 30 seconds, they don't have control over the pit. This mid lane inhibitor being down is really choking Butler out of a lot of pressure. The side of St. John's can all just stand here clumped up 5v5 ready to fight by the pit as Mac is getting caught.
Oh, yeah, Mac got caught out. He's CC'd for so long. The heroic entrance is not going to be enough to save him as the rest of the team is now trying to collapse on the Galio. You can't go over walls, buddy, as he's going to be the double kill. Butler and Levi now forced to black away, and now the control over Baron and maybe control over the game goes over to St. John.
Oh, this could definitely be the end. It's 5 players to 3, a 7,000 gold lead. The wallets are in the favor of St. John's. The players are in the favor of St. John's. They even have a minion wave. They need to take out these towers and then kill MGL. There's still 15 seconds on this Aatrox respawn. If they focus it properly, they can, but the wave is dead, and a shockwave takes out Levi.
Yeah, that shockwave plus Graves damage is huge. Follow-up, this is so close. St. John's was like, yeah, that one team fight was a fluke. You can have that Ocean Drake. and we'll take your entire base. There's a huge Gnar immediately jumping in. He's underneath turret, but the shield from Iron Locket should keep him alive for just a little bit longer. St. John is trying to turn this around. Butler's trying to turn this around with the Aatrox finally respawn, but he's staying alive just a little bit. He's still at half HP, but 3 members of St. John. He's healing so much, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to be the ace going over to Twice-sama as the base goes over to St. John.
And it's going to be St. John, a little sloppy near the end. It looked a little dangerous, but they do hold on. They take it. And they clinch the victory. Butler, an impressive showing. But in the end, not quite able to make it happen for themselves. And if we actually look at the damage graphs, it tells us that this game was pretty even the whole time.
Yeah, and even looking, even if you sometimes like the gold numbers even lied throughout this entire game. I think that had that last team fight where Mac had gotten caught out and the rest of the team kind of followed suit. While it was a good call, it eventually turned sour in their mouths as St. John was like, we don't need this Baron anymore. We don't need to win this Baron. We can just close out the game here. And sometimes that's all you need to do. I think this game was really, really close, even though the gold was showing us that it was one-sided. I think that we saw even during that dragon bait where St. John was like, hey, let's make it look like we're going to dragon, but actually we're gonna curve right around and take their inhibitor. That was a really, really smart play. And ultimately Butler was able to what looked like a bad play from Butler turned around in their favor, and they were able to get something out of that. We see a lot of very well coordinated players on Butler, but ultimately some few mistakes here and there, was able to be capitalized by some of these better individual players and St. John's.
Yeah. And stay tuned. We're going to go to a quick break, but in just a few minutes, we're going to try and bring you one of the players from this St. John's lineup on air for an interview to talk about that game. And I'm excited to hear what they have to say about it, because that was a very interesting game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure.